Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this. XRP cannot be mined. Price will increase significantly. Believe it or not, what led to this article was people saying that more and more XRP will just continue to be mined over time. I don't know if these people are new to crypto or what, but you cannot mine XRP. Smoke points out XRP is deflationary. How every time a transaction happens, a little bit of XRP is burned. But you know, that's not what I think is going to push the price of XRP. It would take such an amount of time for that to really impact the price of XRP. What's really going to impact its price is the lockups of XRP. People using XRP for its actual use case and locking it away, which will lead to scarcity. Another great watch from Beyond Broke. 3 to 4 digit XRP before the end of 2025. A 1 million XRP price prediction in a decade. So Jake Claver is once again saying this. Take a listen.
Sounds good. So anyway, let's say
XRP price prediction. Just ETFs, I think somewhere between 10 and $50 is very reasonable. If we get all of the other catalysts, and I think we will. Again, I give it a 95% certainty that it happens this year. You could easily have a 3 or 4 digit XRP by the end of 2025. 2026 to 2027, I think you'll see tokenization of derivatives. And that puts XRP at a 5 digit price.
Wow.
And then, beyond that, if you do have tokenization of real estate and all of these other real world assets, and 85% of that ends up on chain by the end of 2030, 6 figures by the end of 2030 for XRP. And then, if you wanted to go even further out, I do think that it'll reach the $1 million mark if you gave it a decade.
So if you have one XRP a decade from now, it will be worth $1 million. And right away, people would look at it that way. But a lot has to happen first. The ETFs are just the beginning. He said that would take us from $10 to $50. But we are about to enter alt season. We're also about to get clarity as well. So I think when you combine clarity and the green light for the institutions and the ETFs at the same time, that could get us closer to $100. But Jake Claver lawsuit for fake wire transfers, impersonation, and more. It is time for answers, and as an investor in his XRP funds at DWP, I just wanted to know why this wasn't disclosed to any of us. So this is an actual lawsuit. Now, some people said this lawsuit is already done. It's already settled. I haven't heard anything come from Jake Claver. So I really don't want to talk about this because there's always two sides to the story. And a lot of people brought this to my attention multiple times, and I wanted to give my opinion on it. I think most likely this was settled, and maybe he's not allowed to talk about it as part of the settlement. We really don't know. If Jake says something about it, I definitely will share it with all of you. Crypto Trump czar. Upcoming crypto regulation would start Bitcoin crypto boom. Take a listen to this.
We did repeal Biden's exec order on AI, which was 100 pages of unnecessary regulation on AI. We've ended the war on crypto, and I think we're trying to stop the regulatory capture that benefits large incumbents. So you have all these things, and there's been other things that have been done on the economy as well. But I do think that this sets us up for a Trump boom in the future. It's just that a lot of these changes take time to play out.
Now, he didn't say Bitcoin at all. I think regulations are going to have the biggest impact on utility-driven cryptocurrencies. I'm telling you, they are going to classify cryptocurrencies. This has use case. This doesn't have use case. This is speculation. This has real value. And that's why it's going to benefit utility-driven cryptocurrencies more than Bitcoin. Walmart's XRP integration involving RLUSD is underway. So you see, the Walmart OnePay crypto deal is with a company called Zero Hash. Guess what Zero Hash is using as a stablecoin? RLUSD. And a lot of people are talking about how OnePay is bringing crypto to Walmart. But I want you to hear what he says here, what their CEO says.
And just the ease of which, regular folks, people who, go to Walmart, there are 150 million Americans who use Walmart online or in person every week, can now actually have crypto in the very same app. They can buy it, they can hold it, they can store it, they can trade it if they want. And then when they want to go pay for something, they can, turn it into cash and like we said, go, OnePay is actually integrated into the checkouts of Walmart. So it is, I think, a milestone in that case, Carl.
I think this opens up for people to get exposure to crypto because of the 150 million weekly customers. I'm sure some of them would invest in crypto. But the one thing he said, you're going from crypto to cash at the checkout. You're not actually buying things with crypto. You're paying with either cash or a stable coin at the end. I want to see where it goes from here. Head of crypto, PayPal, says on-chain payments are the future. Take a listen.
There is no future, I think, without an intersection or a bridge to on-chain payments. It's not going to exist. They are super helpful into the future of financial accounts, into the future of payments. You can sit back and watch. You can choose to be scared, or you can actually step in and iterate and learn your way through it.
Everything is coming on chain. All payments are coming on chain, and they all know it. And when she said you can sit back and watch, or you could step in, a lot of people are going to be left behind once this happens. Once the full transition happens, I think a lot of banks are going to get left behind because they're so reluctant to join the future. They want to stay in the past. They want to keep the current system because they're cashing in on this system. So they don't want to rush into the digital age. Black Swan Capitalist co-founder Verson has once again reaffirmed his conviction about the future of XRP. This time he suggests that XRP's strategic utility will eventually make it too valuable to remain in open circulation. I think once XRP's utility really kicks in, I think it's going to disappear out of circulation at some point. Think about what's going to happen when people are selling on the way up. Who's going to be the buyers this time around? In previous runs, it was always the whales buying up your XRP. This time around, it's going to be institutions buying up your XRP. And they're going to be locking away that XRP at the same time. A lot of these companies are already looking at yield options. They want to make sure that they're earning off of their crypto investment. That's why I always tell people, think like an institutional investor. Don't rush to sell your XRP. Put it to work for you. Borrow against it. And you could also avoid the taxes on it at the same time. There's so many options coming, and I stress that more than anything because so many people, they look beyond this. They're like, oh, I just want to cash out in this run. This run's going to retire me. But, inflation isn't slowing down. The US dollar's continuing to lose more and more value. You're better off just staying in crypto or cashing out into a stable coin. I keep reminding you of all of that because I want you to make that a possibility for your game plan, because you have to have a game plan in this space. Even price points where you plan to take some profit, write them down and stick to those price points. XRP is once again under the spotlight as the highly anticipated Swell 2025 event, just 3 weeks away. I think Ripple Swell this time around is going to be very good. I mean, they have a lot of heavyweights at Ripple Swell. I think a lot of people will buy XRP leading up to Ripple Swell as well, because we already know that a lot of big things seem to happen every time Ripple Swell begins. And you have major players like BlackRock, NASDAQ, and Citi preparing for Ripple Swell this time around. The fact that BlackRock is going to be there, that tells you Ripple and BlackRock, they're working together more than we know. I think a lot is happening in the background that nobody's talking about right now. I'm sure there's an NDA in place there. 12 million XRP locked into global DeFi. And that comes from Axelar and Midas. You know, we're going to see a lot of XRP being locked away for DeFi. Look at what Flare plans on doing. They want to hold 5% of the entire supply. I'm sure other companies are going to be going down the same road as Flare, trying to buy up as much as they can, get it out of circulation, put it to work for them. This is just the beginning of something so much bigger. And this comes from Paul Barron. Why are big banks terrified of open banking? Rule 1033. Because it lets you choose where to take your financial data to better apps, crypto services, or budgeting tools. Banks want to be gatekeepers who tax every transaction and control your choices. Open banking equals financial freedom. The bank's version is a walled garden where they collect rent forever. I'm telling you, the banks are not rushing to get involved with crypto. Once one bank does it and they get the upper hand on all the other banks, that's when those banks will get on board. Until then, they want to keep collecting those fees. They want to make sure that they're getting the most out of the money sitting at the bank. Why do you think you don't even get 1% on a checking account or a savings account? Because the bank is getting rich while you stay poor, while the money you keep there keeps losing value. That's why you're seeing so much come into this space now, because they're going to open up a whole range of new possibilities for crypto investors. And anybody holding their money at the bank in the future, they're just going to miss out on this opportunity completely. Anybody that's getting here now is going to get the upper hand on the institutions. The fact that you're invested in XRP today is a game changer. You beat the institutions. Don't sell too soon, because the institutions, they're going to push these cryptocurrencies to price points that we could only dream of a few years ago during the crypto crackdown. Once they open up this space, we're going to hit numbers. And the days of people saying, well, market cap in previous cycles, that's all going out the window. We're not invested in the stock market. We're invested in crypto. And that's why market cap doesn't matter. Utility matters. We will see scarcity and demand at the same time for XRP. But until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.